I'll be reading from the New International Version in Exodus, the 13th chapter, commencing with verse 17. Reads on this wise: When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt ready for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath. He said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. And after leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. And by day the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left his place in front of the people. You may be seated in the presence of our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. For the time that I have to share, I want to talk from these words of preaching: a divine detour for a divine destiny. A divine detour for a divine destiny. Come on, preacher. Life has a way of rerouting us whenever we think we're headed in one direction. Only for God to step in and change our course, often in ways we don't see coming. For instance, Nick Saban's story of ending up in Tuscaloosa is a perfect example. Because back in 2006, Saban was grounded as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And by that point, he had spent 2 seasons with them, posting a 15-17 record, and there was speculation that he might become the head coach of Alabama after they had fired Mike Shula. And as a result of these rumors, Saban reassured his players that he was staying put where he was in Miami, and he was going to build his future as an NFL head coach. In fact, in a press conference, he even said, I guess I have to say it, I'm not going to be the Alabama coach. However, things did not turn out the way that Saban had expected, because he shared a behind-the-scenes story about the day Alabama's athletic director, Mal Moore, was scheduled to have a meeting with him. And then, at this point, because he was resolute in his decision, having no intention of leaving the NFL, he called up his wife, Terry, as he was on his way from a team meeting, and informed her to call Mal Moore and let him know that he doesn't have to bother showing up for the meeting. But after hearing this, she had a different update and told Nick Saban that Mal Moore was already at the house waiting on him. And just like that, what seemed like a set decision in one direction was quickly changed, and looking back, it's hard to deny that God's hand was in this moment. Saban may have not known it at the time, but that unwanted meeting with Mal Moore was the crucial moment that set him on the path to become the head coach of the University of Alabama. And years later, with 6 national championships, 8 SEC championships, and an induction into the College Football Hall of Fame, Saban is widely regarded as one of the greatest coaches in college football. And now in retirement, he can reflect on how he accomplished so much more at the University of Alabama as compared to what he could have accomplished anywhere else. And as we reflect on how God redirects our course, whenever we believe that we are on the right path, we can see this clearly with the Israelites in Exodus chapter 13. Because at this point, they had been freed from slavery in Egypt. Through the blood of the Lamb, they were spared from the death of their firstborn, and Pharaoh finally decided to let God's people go.
Yeah.
When Pharaoh had let them go, everything seemed to be going well. It seemed like that they would make it straight to Canaan, to the land of promise which God had promised to Abraham. However, just as they were on their way, a change took place. Because when they were about to head toward the way of the Philistines, the shortest and most direct route to Canaan, God had led them toward a different path. Because instead of taking the quick, straightforward journey, he directed them toward the wilderness, a journey that would ultimately lead to 40 years in the wilderness. As a result, for 40 years they would face hardship and struggle. For 40 years, they would have to learn to depend on God for their daily provision. For 40 years, there would be a series of challenges and tests of faith, all because this unexpected detour took them by surprise. But although they expected the shorter, easier journey, God has something far greater in mind. Showing us that our expectations may not always align with what we experience, because God's ways are higher than our own. But you must understand that when God directs you on a divine detour for a divine destiny, number one, his provision will secure you. His provision will secure you. The Via Maris, or the way of the Philistines, was the fastest route from Egypt to Canaan. And the route followed Egypt's northeastern border, and while it was the ideal path, it would have brought them into Philistine territory. Because the Philistines, being a powerful nation at that time, might have saw the Israelites as a threat, therefore causing immediate conflict. Because though the Israelites are described as being armed for battle, most scholars would suggest that this is an inaccurate translation. Therefore, other scholars would contend that they were not armed for battle. However, they were grouped and they were equipped for trouble, because had they gone the route that they had walked, God knew that his people would become discouraged and they would abandon their attempt to reach Canaan, opting to return back to Egypt and surrender to Pharaoh. And knowing this, God prevented them from taking this route, and instead led them toward the wilderness by way of the Red Sea. As a result of this, I can just picture that some of the Israelites said, "Man, where are we going? Why aren't we taking the shortcut? If we go this way, we'll end up getting lost in the wilderness." Let me tell you, even though they saw a shorter route, God saw that it had the potential to lead them into dangerous battles that they weren't yet ready to fight. Because after 430 years in Egypt, these people were not warriors, because all they knew was about being a slave. Watching football, you'll notice that whenever commentators are having a discussion, they'll discuss different positions of the staff of the football team. And whenever they discuss a coach, with this technology, they'll show the coach either on the sidelines or in the booth. And what's interesting, most of the time, whenever they discuss the offensive coordinator, you don't always see the offensive coordinator on the sideline. But most of the time, the offensive coordinator is sitting up in the booth. And that's fascinating to me. Because while the players are on the field executing the plays. The offensive coordinator is sitting up on the booth, able to see the entire field. And from their elevated position, they can see the movement of the defense. They can spot the weaknesses of the offense, and they can adjust the strategy as needed, even when the players on the field. Yes, sir. Let me tell you, just like the offensive coordinator, God is sitting up high and above, seeing everything, things that we can't even see. Because while we're on the field and on the sideline, we're so focused on what's in front of us. We're so focused on our own play. We're so focused on our own goals. We're so focused on our own desires. But God is sitting up high in the booth, and He sees the dangers. He sees the pitfalls. He sees the obstacles, and whatever it isn't right, my offensive coordinator will adjust the strategy. You have to understand that whenever things don't go your way, don't you take it for granted. Instead, you need to trust that God, from His high vantage point, is seeing things you don't have the ability to see, calling Him to adjust. The game plan. You're about to take that job. Offer you decent hours. Good benefits. You thought if you take this job, you'll retire from that. But God adjusted the strategy. He let the interview flop. He didn't allow you to meet the qualifications because He saw that you would work yourself down to the bone and not get paid what you deserve, and it would cause unneeded stress to come into your life. You saw that relationship. You thought that you would find everything you wanted in a person, in this particular person you were dating, but God adjusted the strategy. He didn't even let y'all get past the talking stage. He didn't even allow y'all to introduce each other to your families because God saw that they were a toxic individual that would have turned you every which way but loose and ripped you from the inside. He adjusted the strategy. You surrounded yourself with some folk you thought would forever have your back. But I'm so glad that God adjusted the strategy. Because even when I couldn't see it, He saw that they were nothing but a fake, phony individual, and all they wanted to do was use me, and they would sue, betray. You saw that house. You got tired living in the projects. You said, I'm going to go buy me a house. Had a two-door garage. Upstairs, downstairs, beautiful backyard, swimming pool in the back. But God adjusted the strategy. He didn't allow your credit to get it. And He did not allow you to get approved. Because He saw that the house would become a financial burden and you wouldn't even be able to maintain the upkeep. The point of the matter is you need to be thankful that God has come into your life and adjusted something. What this comes down to is that even when you assume that you are ready, God sees that you are not, and He will step in and ruin your plan before your plan ruins. The issue with many of us is this. You know, my grandmother, Dad's mom, she passed before I was born. And my dad would tell me different stories of it. She was a member of the First Baptist College that's on the north side, next to Abrams. And it's interesting to me that when we talk about it, he told me she used to sing in the choir. And one song she used to sing is one of my favorite songs. I listened to it on my way to church this morning. Order my steps. That's my prayer every single day from the Lord. To order my steps. But can I tell you what our issue is? We want God to order our steps. But we get upset when he orders our stops. Because we like when God is opening doors. We like when things are going our way. We like whenever God is moving us forward. But when God tells us to pause or slow down, we have a problem with that. But let me tell you, while you may be rushing to jump into the pool, God won't let you if you can't swim. So don't be frustrated when things don't go as planned. Don't be disappointed when they close the door in your face. Don't be agitated whenever you feel like you failed. Instead, realize that God is making a better bed for you than the one you're making for yourself. And eventually, when the time is right, you'll be glad to lay in the one that God is making for you. Divine detour for a divine destiny. You have to understand that his prevention will secure you. But then you have to understand that when there's a divine detour for a divine destiny, his promise will sustain you. His promise will sustain you. The Israelites journeyed not by way of the Philistines. Instead, they took the route toward the wilderness by way of the Red Sea. And as we discussed on last week, when Pharaoh had demanded the children of Israel to leave, the Israelites had asked for silver, gold, and clothing. God stirred the hearts of the Egyptians to give it to them, but this wasn't the only thing that the Israelites had brought with them out of Egypt. Because as we can see, they brought with them the bones of Joseph. Because before his death, in Genesis chapter 50, verses 24 through 26, Joseph made a specific request to his brothers that when God delivered Israel from Egypt, they were to take his bones with them to the promised land. And this request showed Joseph's beliefs that God was faithful and would fulfill his promise. And this is fascinating to me. Because despite all that the Israelites endured in bondage, the oppression, the hardship, and the suffering, they honored the request that Joseph had made. And by carrying the bones, they demonstrated faith in God's ability to take them to the place that was destined for them. In essence, by carrying the bones, the Israelites were saying, we're going to make it. What this shows us is that wherever God has made you a promise or destined to take you to greater heights, you must hold on to your faith in order to see it come into fruition. Because apart from faith, God's promises remain unfulfilled, leaving you stuck where you are. Y'all ain't caught on yet. Probably notice that most cars now that are being made, you don't have to stick your key into the ignition to get it to start. You know, now you can get into the car, put your foot on the brake, click a button, and the car crank up and you can go wherever you want to go. But there's a catch that comes with it. If the key remote isn't inside of the vehicle, the car won't crank. Let me tell you, you can be sitting in the car as much as you want, you can click the button as much as you want, but if the key isn't in the vehicle, the car won't move. And can I tell you the reason why God's promises aren't being fulfilled in your life? The reason why you haven't arrived to that place where God wants you to be? The reason why you're still stuck in the same cycle of situations is because your key, which is your faith, is not inside. Of the cross. Because I come to find out that after we've gone through so much, after things have looked uncertain and things have Let me tell you, God can never work in your life unless your faith is in the promise and his ability to fulfill it. And I don't know what you want in life. Yeah. I don't know where you want to be. Yeah. Maybe it's that job. Maybe it's that relationship. Maybe it's freedom from addiction. Maybe it's financial stability. Maybe it's trying to find healing in the midst of your sickness. But let me tell you, keep your faith. Near the promise. Yeah. You may feel discouraged, but keep your faith nearby. The doctors probably walk away from the bed, but keep your faith nearby. You probably got more money than you have money, but keep your faith nearby. You might be overwhelmed, but keep your faith nearby. Because if you keep your faith nearby, God will take you to the very thing that he has prepared. Amen. Because it's never about God not being able to do it. But do you have the faith for him to do it? And as we reflect on Black History Month, we can look back and consider the fact, if we look at our history, that as African Americans, we didn't always have our rights. We didn't always have opportunity. That's right. We did not always have recognition. But one thing that our ancestors and our forefathers had was their faith. Because through the bombings, the beatings, the attacks, the injustice, they held on to their faith. And because they held on to their faith, now we have black government officials. Now we have black leaders. Now we didn't have a black president. Now we have black CEOs. All because somebody before us held on to their faith. Even when things didn't look good. And looking back at that, you can see how powerful your faith is. And when you know how powerful your faith is, every day you get up, you better look in the mirror and encourage yourself, pat yourself on your chest, and say, I'm going to make it. Even if I face setback after setback, I'm going to make it. Even if it feels like I'm running out of time, I'm going to make it. Even if others try to stand in my way, I'm going to make it. Even if the odds are stacked up against me, I'm going to make it. And Sheldon, let me tell you, this church, this little brick church, you're going to be all right. Because you're going to make it. Because the same God that brought you through the last time is the same God that can bring you through this time. No matter what you're going through, you can make it. And let me tell you why I can make it. Because I'm yet still holding on. And I won't let go of my faith. I may have to let some Negroes go. I may have to let some fake friends go. I may have to let some relationships go. But one man I'm not going to let slip out of my hand is my faith. Divine detour for divine destiny. You have to understand that his prevention was secure. His promise was sustained. But when you experience a divine detour for a divine destiny, his presence will support you. Yeah, his presence will support you. The Israelites were journeying. Despite the detour that they took, they had no road signs, no maps, and no guides. But instead of leaving them at loss of where to go, God guided them with a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. And this was a symbol of God's presence, illuminating the way, showing them where to go, and providing light at night. And with God's guidance, they moved from Succoth to Etham, locations where their exact whereabouts remain unknown. But though they were traveling in the east-southeast direction, they would be led toward the Red Sea. And even worse, they would still not be out of reach of the Egyptians. And not only that, Etham, where they found themselves stopping, was at the edge of the desert. Meaning that they would be in a wasted, barren, and dry place. Where they would struggle for survival. Because in the desert, they did not have all of the resources that they needed. Because as they entered Mara, the water was bitter. And they couldn't even drink it. And had they gone the way they originally intended, which was the way of the Philistines, they would have received everything that they wanted, because this route was a trade route. Making it easier for them to get all of the necessities that they need. But the text says they went to Etham, which was on the edge of the desert. And now that they followed the path God set for them, it seems, whether they recognize it or not, they were making a mistake by following God. And let's be honest, Shiloh. Have you ever had moments where you wish you would have did it your way instead of God's way? Let's be honest, if you were just like Tyrone Davis, you'd probably say, I wish I could turn back the hands of time and choose the other option than God's option. Because let's be honest, sometimes you can do the right thing. You can trust God, you can step out on faith, but to no avail, your obedience does not yield the results you expect. But you have to understand that although God is leading you, what he's leading you to, in hindsight, does not always look better than what he's leading you from. But even though you cannot see it at the time, you have to trust that God's ways are always right. That's right. When I thought of this, I saw myself in the shoes of the Israelites. Last month, I could have celebrated my first pastoral anniversary. Probably wondering what I'm talking about. Let me explain. On December 31st, 2023, it was on the 5th Sunday. I was sitting at Applebee's, and I got a call from a deacon. Told me what had took place at the church, and told me that the church had selected me as their next pastor. I said, Deacon, I'll call you back. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. All I said was, I'll call you back. And after seeking God's guidance, 19 years old, called me to be their pastor. When looking at my age, I called back and said, I'm sorry, Brother Deacon, I can't do it. And I turned down the pastoral position. But here's the thing about it.
Come on. Okay.
The same day that they called me to be their pastor was my pastor's last Sunday at our church. On December 17th of that same year, our pastor had gave the church their 2 weeks notice. And his last Sunday was the 31st. And because I didn't want to leave home, my heart was at my home church. I thought that they would probably call me to be their next pastor. And here we are. A year and 2 months later, my church ain't got a pastor. Now, when somebody got word that I declined the pastoral position, they called me and they said, man, what are you doing? Don't you know you're making a mistake? And they knew about the situation at my church. They said, what if your church don't call you? Then call. And during our process in our church, it has been chaotic.
Yes.
People have said things Some people would even tell me, man, you would be going through all of this if you would have taken that other church. But you chose to stay at home. Let me tell you, if what God led me to do was a mistake, it was the greatest mistake I ever made. Because even though I'm not at that other church, even though I'm not at my home church, God is still blessing me. God is still opening doors for me. I haven't missed a Sunday of preaching. I don't feel defeated. I'm still on the beating path. You want me to hold my head down, but every day I'm sticking my chest up. Letting you know that God got me. Because wherever God is leading you, it may look like you're making a mistake. It may look like God led you to a place that's worse off than where you could have been. But God gonna take care of you. Because wherever God leads you, here's the story. I ain't losing no sleep. I ain't losing no weight. In fact, my mom said I'm gaining weight. I ain't lost no meal. I'm like Eddie Kendricks. I keep on trucking because I know that at the end of the day, He's not this way. Wherever He comes, God will take care of you. Is there anybody here that knows that God will take care of you? So when you take your orders from God, don't you worry about what these Negroes got to say. Because it's not up to them to understand what God is doing in your life. But trust that God has your back. Whatever way. Yes. Yes. Good God. Come on, preacher. So I think. I know that some of you know what you want and don't want in a leader. I know this church has gone through some struggles and some strife. But let me tell you, at this season in the life of this church, make sure you're taking your orders from the Lord. Yes, sir. Because I know you got your own preferences, your own decisions you want to make. Yes, sir. But make sure that God is in it. Because I said 2 Sundays ago, God ain't going to bless no mess. And whatever you do, make sure it's right. And when you follow God, it'll never be wrong. But I'm so glad that whenever God is leading me, He won't lead me astray. Wherever God leads me, we can be rest assured that He has our back. But drawing back on that pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. And reading that, you see a preview of what Jesus is like. Because the pillar of cloud by day was meant to guide the Israelites on their journey. And in whichever way they went, they were guided by the cloud. And can I tell you, that's just like my Jesus? Because He said He is the way, the truth, and the life. But then you also have to consider that at nighttime the fire would provide light. But let me tell you that my Jesus, He is the light of the world. Have I got a witness? Because Jesus, He shines in the midst of our darkness. Because when we were in the darkness of sin. He led us into the marvelous light. Never got a witness because all they healed far away. There stood an old rugged cross. And on that cross, my Jesus was nailed in his hand. My Jesus was nailed in his feet. My Jesus was pierced in his side. My Jesus had a crown of thorns on his head. My Jesus died on that old rugged cross. And is there anybody here that know he died? He died from the 6th to the 9th hour. He died to the sun refused to shine. He died to the centurion soldier said, this must be the Son of God. But let me tell you, they took him down from that old rugged cross, put him down in a borrowed tomb. But let me tell you that if I was Reverend Tommy Lewis, I'll tell you that it was a frightening Friday. It was a sad Saturday. But somebody say, yeah. Sunday morning, it was a shouting Sunday because my Jesus, do you know my Jesus, he got up early Sunday morning. Is there anybody here that know my Jesus? Anybody here that tried my Jesus? Won't he make a way out of no way? You're sitting there like you don't know the Jesus I'm talking about. But let me tell you that I'm talking about Jesus, Mary's baby, Jesus, Joanna's grandson, Jesus, James and Joseph had brother, Jesus, Peter's best friend. Do you know the Jesus I'm talking about? Jesus, my way out of no way. Jesus, my bridge over troubled water. Jesus, my strong tower. Jesus, my lily in the valley. Jesus, my bright and morning star is sitting there. Everybody know the Jesus I'm talking about. He ain't on Facebook, but he's still my friend. He ain't on Instagram, but I still follow him. He ain't got no Wi-Fi, but I'm still connected to him. He ain't got no cell phone, but he's on the main line. Call him up whenever I work. Do you know the Jesus I'm talking about? Jesus, he's like the inner child of one. He keeps going and going. Jesus, he's like Nike, because whatever he wants to do, he's able to step in and do it. Jesus, he's like Bounty. He is the quicker picker up. I got a witness. Jesus, he's alive. Coca-Cola, he's a real thing. Jesus, he's alive. Pepper super, because I discovered that he's good. Never got a witness. And if you know the Jesus I'm talking about, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, don't you worry about the Detour. You make it life, because Jesus, he walks with you, he talks with you, he tells you that you are his own. And he alright. Say yeah. Grab your neighbor, shake him and rock him and shake him, and tell your neighbor, hold on, you will make it. I know it may look dark, but you will make it. I know it may look tough, but you make it. I know it seems impossible, but who will make it? And let me tell you how I know that you'll make it. Because have you any mountains that you couldn't come through? Have you any rivers that seem uncrossable? But let me tell you that the man by the name of Jesus, he specializes in things that seem impossible. And he can